problem that I've seen a lot of people do when they create a thumbnail image is that they'll have a product like these antler chandeliers, and they will resize the image so that it is in fact 150 pixels from there to there. Or they'll resize it so it's 150 pixels from there to there. But then you end up, when it displays on your website, where it's all uneven like this. My recommendation if people are making their own thumbnail images is make everything inside of a square, 150 pixels by 150 pixels, or 200 pixels by 200 pixels, whatever size you're going to do, regardless of what the certain product is in there. So if you've got a horizontal product, you just add it with a bunch of your background color. Okay, it'll make your websites look much cleaner if you do that. Now here's an example. This is my logo, and this is the standard JPEG image here with a compression of 1. You can see that it's got a file size of 65K. Now because this is a JPEG, you'll notice that there actually is some fuzziness going along on the edges. If this was a GIF file, that would be a flat color, which is the reason why a GIF file is better for something like a logo. Now this uses a compression factor here of 99, which is at the other extreme, and you can see we've got all kinds of JPEG artifacts showing up. You don't necessarily want that. And now, here's the two that we saw before, but I just did this before where I added blur and increased the saturation and contrast, compressed it to 99, and now I get this result, which is a whole lot better than that result, and a significantly smaller file size. Okay. A compression of about 36 is actually what I like to use, somewhere between 35 and 40. And you can see that in this case here, that wreath that we saw before, the original file size with a compression of 1 was 368K, compression 36 is about 93. So that's a pretty good thing here. Now another thing about images that you actually want to think about is whether or not the image is pinnable and whether or not you want it to be. A lot of times people will share your images out there on Pinterest, and that's a great thing to market your site because people can click on it and say, hey, you know, this is a really cool product or whatever, and they share it across Pinterest, and if somebody clicks on it, it takes them back to your site, which is where the image appeared in the first place. If you want them to do that, then you need to think about that as you're building your images. One way that you can do that is to put text in your images. You can add a border around them to make sure they stand out. These are all things that people typically don't do. And you can size your images specifically so that when they land on a Pinterest board, they really stand out. And one way to do this is make them be 554 pixels wide, and about 3 times longer than they are wide, and you'll get something like this. This is one that I built for someone, and you can see that it's got the border, it's got text on the image, and it's long enough that when it shows up on Pinterest that it stands out on the page. And it wouldn't make any difference if that image was in the middle column or on the right column. That's obviously the one that's going to stand out.